Alright, so now I'm going to show you this using Grasshopper. Same exact thing we just did. We can do that pretty quick. So I'm going to start, I have this one set up already just to kind of show you how it works. So the first thing I'm going to do is using just a surface parameter. So if you just double click, type surface, it's this one with like the hexagon, because that's the parameter that's going to grab something from Rhino. And then here I can right click and tell it set one surface, that one. So see, now it lights up green. The next thing is I want to divide that domain. So just like we did before when we were creating the grid from the domain number, that's our next step. So I'm going to tell it, you can type this in, divide domain, it's that one, divide domain 2 or squared, it's in 2 directions. If you use like some of these other ones, they divide things differently. That just divides something to equal amounts. This one does it as like a grid. So then I'm going to plug that in, and then I don't know if this one has a preview. I think that one just generates it, and then the U and the V, that's how many we have. If you wanted to see this, you could use an ISO trim. Oops. So see, as we start reducing this or adding more, these are basically just subdivisions in our surface. So let me hide the Rhino one so that it looks a little cleaner, and then make this like, see here how this like, it looks like a stop sign, not like a ball. If you zoom in here, let's see if this actually makes it nicer, high quality. Just made more weirdness. What you're seeing there, I think, is that we have two of them on top of each other. That's the one. So as we add more U and V subdivisions, it's just like adding more or less to the grid. We don't need to create the grid, because what we're going to do with Grasshopper is we're just going to tell it subdivide it, and then we can create this, which is a surface box. There's basically a box on the surface, and then the domain will be, it needs to know how many, and then the height we can just define it by a value. So here this is actually giving us, if I put in a panel, a bunch of like little boxes. So see, it's not just one thing, it's however many we had. So there's a huge scroll bar there, so 153. If we go directly into there, that starts off, but it still needs to know what surface to put it in. So that was our surface from here, that's the original surface, and then it needs to know the height. Once you plug all those in, now look what it's done. It's done some like, looks like a hat. And what that is these are just too tall. So if I bring that back down, now we can see, let me click that one so it lights up. Our surface boxes are there. So that's very similar to creating the grid using paneling tools. But what's nice about it is, if I were to go into Rhino now and bring this back, turn on my points, and then let's say I grab that guy and move him down. See, like my Rhino shape is changing, the Grasshopper hasn't, but once I let go, see, Grasshopper is always running, so it automatically recalculates based off of the shape. So see, those boxes are moving around. I can pull these ones down. So that's the basic to getting it to look like that. And then from here, let's just hide this. We're going to use this tool, which is called Box Morph. And what that does is it will take our shape that we give it. So let's bring back our little circle guy. So I can define that until Grasshopper. You're just gonna right click here. Oh, that's kind of hard to read up there. You right click here and you tell it set one geometry, it goes away, brings you to Rhino, and then you click there, it comes back, so now it has one, see, one locally defined value. I can plug this in. This guy was just to be able to visualize the grid, we don't need that. I can plug that all the way into the top of this one where it's looking for the geometry. Now the reference is the surface, I think. So here's our boxes are the target, and then the surface that we started off with becomes the reference geometry. Boom. And once you do that and you turn this guy on, I had the preview off so it wouldn't show you right away. Notice how it's going slow because it's got to think about it, because all of a sudden it's creating all these panels. So it's done that. So here our target, let's see what's getting it off. Oh. Oh, it's doing something. You guys have any questions so far? No? Cool. Well, it usually doesn't crash unless you're doing something crazy. Is it back? Oh, yeah. Ah, I know what I did wrong. This is the bounding box. That's why it's like off of where it is. I want it to use itself as the reference. Now when you enable it, it should be correct. I think it's because I have all that other stuff. It might be why it's going so slow. All those panels I made in Rhino. So see, that's the right way.
So you fixed it, right, by
Mm-hmm.
you were referencing.
So remember when it would ask us to do the panel and then the reference box for the panel,
Like
which
the-
is like the enclosure of it.
Okay, and you were doing the plane.
Yeah, I just switched to where they were supposed to go. But if you tell it to use itself, then it makes it cleaner. So let me try this. I think this is what's throwing everything off. Maybe not, because it still hasn't popped up. Alright, we'll probably have to do this separate. Let's see. Oh, it could be the previous, just takes forever. So just like we had all these tools for paneling tools in Rhino, they're also here in Grasshopper. So if you wanted to, you could use these. So like we did before, where you create a grid, surface domain number. You can create the whole definition just like we did before, and then panel 2D, or you can do panel 3D. You can do it a lot of different ways, and then it will stay live the way these ones do. You can bake that. Oops, baked the wrong one. Once you've baked it though, it's going to be locked in. It's not going to keep changing on you.